Warning, the Spoilercast does contain spoilers of current and past movies, books, video, games, TV shows, and possibly your life. So if you're listening to a show called Spoilercast and you're pissed off that we gave away spoilers, we really don't care. Thanks again and have a wonderful day.
Hey, Roper from All Tower Media here. This is Spoilercast, and I am equipped again with Adam. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
I'm, just putting along. My truck's not putting along anymore. It's broken.
Yeah, same thing happened with me. Ended up 20,000 in the hole just trying to get going again.
What kind of car did you get?
It's a Kia Forte.
Ooh,
yeah,
fancy. It's a Kia Forte.
Obviously, running is not its forte.
No. That's the new one I got. The Buick Park Avenue was the one that died.
I see.
Dire Monkey, how are you?
I'm peachy.
Don't you have a busted car sitting in your driveway?
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody wants to buy a 98 Jeep Grand Cherokee?
Hey.
It's got a brand new engine, but not a fucking thing else works in it.
Do the doors lock?
No.
Oh.
There might be some ferrets, I think, living in there.
Oh, yeah? Mm-hmm. They're weasels.
I think it's a ferret.
You really think so?
I've got it on video.
Do you really have a ferret living in that car?
Yeah.
Where the hell did it come from?
I have no clue.
All right. Oh, well, outside of the car issues, we have a show to do. And, Adam, you came up with the topic.
Yep, spoilers in time. It's just spoilers throughout history, the greatest ones, things that have been spoiled for us. It's a pretty broad topic, but I figured it'd be a good one to cover.
Yeah, considering this is spoiler cast, and we get Jareth on here every now and then, and he would go, spoiler alert, and I'm like, you don't have to do that. Like, there's literally a disclaimer at the beginning of each of these episodes that says you're listening to a show called Spoilercast, so if you're pissed off that we gave away spoilers, we really don't care.
Also, if you've clicked on it and it says Spoilercast.
Yeah, most people know what you're getting into. This, on the other hand, is a little different. Most of these movies have probably been out for a while.
Yeah, a good chunk of them.
So you've also covered some games and TV shows, things of that nature. So we might still be giving something away, but it is what it is. But there's not a whole lot. I'm not sitting here going, "Hey, we're going to talk about." I don't know. I'm looking at the screen over here. Star Trek Discovery. I don't know what this is.
The new Star Trek series.
All right, there you go. See, I couldn't even begin to give you anything about that.
First episode tonight on CBS. The rest of them on CBS All Access.
There you go. See,
so you can watch one.
He has it. He's got the information. That's what he's here for. That's master control for you. What kind of things do you have on your list over there, anyhow?
Well, I figured we might want to cover the big ones first. Just get them out of the way. Ones that everybody always talks about. And the real big one in my mind is always Empire Strikes Back.
Ooh.
Yeah, that moment whenever Vader says to Luke, "No, I am your father." And, how did you feel whenever you first learned about that?
I wasn't surprised.
Well, no, it's a big thing in pop culture.
True.
Constantly hearing about it.
Actually, that moment, that moment right there, that movie moment, right? Have you seen the movie Reign of Fire?
Yeah, but it's been a while.
It's been a while, right? It's less impactful.
You're the one who showed it to me.
Yeah, it's less impactful. Matthew McConaughey is in it. He's basically a futuristic barbarian killing dragons. That's not exactly the point. Dragons are real. They've been living under the surface of the earth. There's one big giant male, and he's lays eggs that are all female, and they're all itsy bitsy, but they're still a pain in the ass. And they burn everything, and they eat ash until everything on the planet is gone. And then the big one burns off all of the little ones, and then he goes back under the surface, lets everything repopulate, and then as things sprout back up again, he's the reason the dinosaurs are gone, all that good stuff. That's kind of the gist of what it is the movie's about. Okay,
all right.
It's silly, but what I'm telling you this story for is that during that there are all these kids, because they don't have any TV, they don't have anything to watch. There's no source of entertainment, but there's still children that are being born in this world where there are dragons, and they're living in like castle-like things, right?
Yeah.
Well, two of your main characters are acting out the scene from Star Wars in that moment right there. And they actually do the line of, I'm your father. And all the kids are like, oh! And they get like super duper shocked. And of course, they're asking him afterwards. They're like, did you come up with this on your own? He's like, oh, yeah, totally. It's all me.
I actually remember that one. Yeah, the weird thing is how I learned about it wasn't at all from the movie.
Yeah.
It was from Muppet Babies. You remember they had the Star Wars episode.
Yeah.
And I watched that whenever I was younger on the Saturday morning cartoons.
So then later in life, when you watch actual Star Wars, you the punch was already loaded for you.
Yeah. Yeah, already knew all about it, but I mean, it wasn't any less impactful for me.
Yeah, Dire Monkey.
I first had it spoiled for me during Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
See, because it's one of those things that's been around for a while, and it's got loaded into other stuff. Mm-hmm. And so when you're watching that content, then it takes away from, I'm using bunny quotes here, takes away from it whenever you go to watch the original source material. You're like, oh, this is where they're getting that from.
Yeah.
What's next on your list there?
All right, the next big one I have to get out of the way is I See Dead People.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that is just anyone and everyone who's ever, been around a computer, been around memes, been around anything like that.
I see dumb people.
Yeah, you're going to know about this. You're going to know the twist well before it comes. But actually watching it for the first time, it's something...
I don't know. Does that qualify as the twist? I think the twist is the fact that Bruce Willis himself is dead in that movie.
Well, I know. I'm not saying that's the twist. It's just...
Okay.
He sees the dead people, and that's kind of the hint of, oh, I'm seeing him. I'm trying to help him move on.
Tracking.
Finish his unfinished business and, be off on his way.
So, yeah, as like I said, I think because that was in the trailers, wasn't it? The I See Dead People, where he's tucking, the thing up around him?
And, I mean, there were plenty of hints, but if you didn't have it told to you beforehand, chances are, some people say they knew it and saw it coming.
Right.
Chances are you didn't.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that movie did a good job portraying, he got shot, sure he was hurt, but the way he got shot, he could survive. Mm-hmm. It could happen.
Yeah.
And then for him to be back at work, it kind of made sense that his wife was giving him the cold shoulder because of the traumatic event, and I can't believe you're still doing this kind of thing. I mean, there were angles that went with it. I think it was the red object that was always standing in his way. That was the big secret, because if you go back and watch it again, everything that's like red somehow interferes with something that he's attempting to do, like him trying to get into a room or whatever, and then like it would skip away and he would just be in the room. You wouldn't actually see him go through the doorway to get into like his study. It's because it's locked.
Yeah. And then, I mean, you didn't really have interactions with anybody outside of...
just the kid.
What's his name? Cole Sear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's sitting there. Of course, you'll see those scenes. They set the scenes kind of well, where like it's him sitting in the same room as like the kid's mom. And whenever he enters the room, they both look up. And so it's kind of fed to you that, oh, well, they're in here having this discussion, and the kids just walked into the room, while they're sitting here, right?
Yeah.
So they did a good job with that, I think. Yeah, so I think the twist, like I said, I think the twist for that specifically is Bruce Willis is dead. Oh yeah,
100%. It's one of those.
Now, if there was a meme that was like Bruce Willis is dead, then
yeah, it just you heard about it though before you see it. A lot of times, if you weren't one of the first people in there to see it. Luckily, I actually didn't have that one spoiled for me at all. I went to the theater, saw it, and then was blown away by the movie.
So you spoiled it for other people?
Inadvertently, I'd say.
So, okay, on that same note, same director, Shyamalama Ding Dong, M. Night Shyamalan. Yep. Anyway, they put out a movie not too long ago, Split.
Love Split.
Okay, so I have yet to see Split. Shut up. Shut your dirty mouth. I haven't seen it. I know the ending. I know how it ties. I know how it ties across. As far as it to Unbreakable. Yeah. So I'm all on board with that. It's been spoiled. I'm using bunny quotes again for me, but I'll still go.
Doesn't even matter.
I'll still go see it. Yeah, that's like it's like, to my understanding, it's almost a post-credit scene, or is it a post-credit scene?
I think it's right before the credits,
where there's a cafe and he's sitting in there and.
But the whole movie itself is worth it without that even being in there. I had no idea the entire time.
Well, see, the thing is that they ended up having to, withhold his name as the director from early trailers that were being released because of the giant eye roll that you gave me a moment ago.
Yeah, I mean,
it wasn't until they're like, okay, we gotta reserve this a little bit. We gotta hold this back just to get people excited for it, and then we'll let this release.
The thing with Shyamalan is he did so well with The Sixth Sense.
Yeah.
That they gave him a lot of free reign that people should have been checking on him. And he's done some crazy twists that maybe shouldn't have been in movies.
Like Trees.
The Happening.
The Happening.
The Village.
The Village.
The Village. Okay, so that was one of the ones that was on my list. The Village is one of the ones on my list. And the reason being is that I picked up on the fact that it wasn't like old-timey magic things because of the fucking flags in the town. I shit you not, the entries at the very beginning scene is it's like panning in. They've got like these hanging flags that are in their little village, okay? And I was looking at them, and for whatever reason, in my mind, I'm like, they spent a bunch of money on this movie, and those look like tailored, actual, like machine-made flags. And my brain hung on to that through the entire movie. Like, I was so bothered by it. And then later in the movie, whenever she jumps over the fence and is confronted by an officer, I'm like, fucking called it. Fucking called it. Like, it almost made my brain relax,
Yeah.
Made
me angry.
Did it?
Oh yeah.
I was so hung up on the fact that they had spent so much time and effort on everything else that this one detail was. I mean, it's a minute detail, but this one detail was overlooked, and it bothered me. Right, and then later in the movie, I'm like, no, that makes sense. Okay, I'm good now.
So, are you the kind of person that got pissed off whenever the plane flew overhead in Walking Dead?
No, I'm not. See, because that could happen.
Yeah, but they, I don't think they meant that to happen.
Probably not. Yeah. No, probably not at all. But I don't think that. I think that there's a misconception there. There are still other survivors in that world. Right? I mean, they depict that on a very regular basis, right? And people in those type of situations, fucking look at any zombie movie. Everybody's like, oh, there's a safe zone up in Canada. Oh, there's a way that we can survive out on the water. Oh, there's a thing that we could do over here that's totally a deal. Or, you shift gears and you go to the mentality of Escape from New York or L.A. and you've got them where they're like, well, they bring supplies in via helicopter, but nobody knows how to fly a helicopter, let alone read. And he's like, I can. They're like, you can fly a helicopter? I can read. Then later in the movie, he's flying a fucking helicopter because he can read. I mean,
Or, Sandra Bullock's, navigating through a Chinese capsule back to Earth in gravity.
Yeah, see? It happens.
Fuck that movie.
Yeah, see? It happens. But the thing is that in that type of situation, sure, there's a plane flying overhead. Congratulations. There are other survivors out here who have managed to gather together enough resources or, they've executed a plan to get a plane in flight. Okay, cool. To me, that just shows that, sure, there's more world outside of that. Sure, it may have been an accident, but you can still not get your butt hurt about it and go, okay, well, it's part of what it is that's happening. It could potentially occur. And if it's a big jet that's way up high, I mean, the probability is unlikely. Okay, I'll grant that, but just let it be. I mean, let it roll, right? It happened. It's a thing. It's there. Okay, cool. So how did that become a thing? All right, well, it was a matter of people managed to make it work. Good on them. Move on.
Well, my only issue is, how did they refine the fuel?
Maybe they found a tanker, right?
Of course, all the gas in that universe seems to just magically still work.
Yeah, exactly.
Years, so.
Gasoline after years, the degradation of most things is a great thing. They found cleaning kits for all of those firearms they're using. Yeah. I mean, I would hate for any one of those things to build up with so much carbon from firing so many rounds through them that they don't jam. It's a good thing that they're able to maintain their weapons as well as they have. Sir. I mean, if you want to comb over some of those things, some of the cars look like they're just pristine. You know, I mean, it's
generally the ones that are sponsoring the show.
Exactly, because they could survive the zombie apocalypse. So who's to say that somebody somewhere didn't find an airport that had a plane in a hangar that didn't get all ripped to shit or blown up or whatever? Maybe somebody took refuge in an airport and they've got like 2 pilots that are on hand. Maybe, right?
Yeah.
Then somebody that knew how to fuel things up, or they figured it out and they got the thing finally fueled down. They hollow it out and they managed to take off, and they're going to like Bora Bora or something. They've made a plan and they're sticking to it, and they're probably going to crash someplace between here and there. But
yeah, that'd make for an interesting story,
right? See, but that's the thing. That's why with Doug Roberts, you're familiar with our friend Doug.
Yeah.
He wrote the Ragnarok Rising series, right? In the background of that, I started writing up a story, and he's actually referenced my characters from my side story within the confines of his actual books. So he's like, hey, there's some people that showed up. They're with Gage and his group, and it's like, okay, and it's a passing moment, but those are my characters that I wrote from my story, because it shows, extra dimension to what it is that's already happening. And I literally write it as the other side of town, because it's happening in the exact same city during the exact same moments that his story is going on, but they're paralleling one another, where they just don't happen to cross paths. Anyway, what's the next one you got?
Oh, I got 2 more of the ones everyone mentions.
Okay.
Fight Club.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's just... Who hasn't... heard about Fight Club and the whole thing.
Well,
Tyler
the
Durden
thing is no one talks about Fight Club.
That's true. I'm sorry. Just move along.
Moving along. Oh, I'm getting the bird. Get the bird from Dire Monkey.
The most overused sentence in all of history.
Okay. But yeah.
I love how we're actually moving along. No,
right.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
But yeah, the big twist on that one is Tyler Durden is not a real person. He's actually just a
figment of his imagination.
The unnamed narrator's imagination.
Yeah, Edward Norton.
Yeah.
I would say that would have been like a shitty dad joke, but you're a dad, so...
Hey, I mean, it's what I do, man. Low-hanging fruit, baby. Oh, yeah. Spoiled from the beginning.
But yeah, I had that one spoiled for me well before I ever saw the movie.
See, and I didn't, right? And towards the end of that movie, I was like, oh, okay, that was super cool. So that one wasn't actually given away for me. I think I just saw it early enough on.
I think you're the one who spoiled that one for me.
Probably.
Actually. You were talking about, you got to see this movie. It's really cool. He's fighting himself the whole time.
It's
like,
bananas.
Awesome.
I wouldn't put it past myself to do that. Dire Monkey, you look like you're stewing on something.
I'm trying to think. I think all the movies with major twists that have come out, except for like the Star Wars and stuff like that, I've seen on opening night or close enough to that it hasn't been spoiled.
Right.
And for some reason that just makes the movie, I don't know, the experience is different. It's like I don't watch them as much because I can't get that initial thing back. But if I like Star Wars,
you can watch that over and over.
Yeah, and I knew what was happening. Now I go in and I watch it. I've watched it 3 or 4 times since it's been on Netflix now.
Right.
So I don't know what the deal is there. I need to go analyze my brain.
That's a
brain
good
thoughts.
right. That's a good thing, right? So you're looking at it. There's a big hook with the Darth Vader moment.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But you can dance right across the top of that,
right,
and keep going because I think it's because it's a series or there's more content to it.
But
Whereas,
something like Fight Club or Sixth Sense, where I didn't know what was coming until I saw it, I think I've only seen those movies like a handful of times.
Yeah, 1 or 2 times.
So it's weird.
Right?
Now, the great thing about a good twist is it provides rewatchability. If there's a
big
twist, like with him being Darth Vader being Luke's father, you then want to go back and be like, did they hint at this?
Okay, so yeah, maybe once or twice, but like with The Sixth Sense, I've watched it maybe 3 times. I know I watched it the first time. I know I watched it the second time, and then somebody made the reference to everything in there's red that he goes and interacts with, and I watched it the third time for that. I know I did a minimum 3, but I probably haven't watched it any more than that.
See, now what I mean is something that completely changes the dynamic of everything in it, and the relationships of the people. A lot of times it's something that you just see something new every time you go through, especially if it's a movie that has a lot of detail.
Right,
it's going to provide more. Not necessarily one that, yeah, it's a good movie, it has a great twist, watch it again, see what else you can pick up.
And maybe it's just because those type of movies hinge solely on one really big twist that makes it rewatchable to a certain extent, but then once you've kind of watched everything, you're done with it. Whereas like the Star Wars or the I'll put even Big Lebowski on there, even though it's a movie about nothing really, very quotable. But every time you watch it, you pick up some new little thing that you didn't catch because it's going on in the background, or you'll hear a song that they referenced and it comes back later, and you just continuously watch and pick up new stuff.
Oh yeah, like I'll watch Pulp Fiction like once a year, once or twice a year.
Right.
I've been wanting to watch it here recently. Anyway, you're going something.
Just a big one with that in my head is Dark Tower.
Oh,
the big twist ending on that one
for the books.
Yeah, for the books, not the movie. Makes you want to go back and read it and see what you can pick up.
Oh,
and then you go and read other Stephen King books, and then you go back and read it again to see what else you missed.
I mean,
There's
I've read through it
new.
4 or 5 times now, completely. And then I started reading the comics. And, I mean, I was excited but very hesitant about the movie that was going to come out, and that it was bad and all that business. But, no, as soon as because it gives you kind of a choice ending.
Yeah. And
right.
You interpret it exactly how you want to, but at the same time, it is one of the biggest twists because it's also one of the biggest spoilers because the very first line, the very first book, spoils the ending for you.
Book one, page 1, sentence 1, the man in black fled across the desert and the gunslinger followed, is also one of the last sentences of the book.
Yep. And then they just add in a couple extra lines. It's like, hey, everything's different now.
And you're like, mother... And then you start, because you could literally just shut the last book. You could close it, set it down, pick up book 1, and just continue right off from right there.
Yep.
Technically.
Although
there are
changes,
you don't have the variations.
At that point, you get to kind of wonder, like, what was his last trip like?
Right.
Why?
At what point in the puddle, the ripple effect, what point am I reading?
Yeah.
Right? There's no guarantee that how things played out in the version I read was the way it was before. Maybe this was the first time for him to go through. Maybe it's the 12th time. But it makes reference to it as they're going through. And he's like, the tower, whenever he's talking to him, he's like, Roland's done this for however long, and you're going to continue to do it for however long.
Yeah. But yeah, that's one of them that, to me, provides a lot of, not rewatchability, but rereadability.
Readability. That's why I've done it, like I said, 4 times, and I'm picking up new content, like I said, the comics and things of that nature.
Yep, and I love that they're coming out with new content.
They didn't do a good portrayal of it for the movie.
No.
They didn't do it any kind of justice.
I mean, if you've watched the movie, do yourself a favor, forget it, and pick up the books.
If you haven't read them. Because if you've read them, you're probably as irritated as we are.
Yeah. And, if you have read the books, read them again.
Yeah. Totally worth it.
All right. Let's see. The last one I have on here for the big ones is Planet of the Apes.
Oh.
Yeah, that was a big one for me.
You blow it up. You damn dirty apes.
Well, that was earlier in the movie.
I know.
This was goddamn you all to hell.
I know. I'm using I'm breaking it apart. You blew it up is one of the moments where he's punching the sand on the beach. Right? And then the other quote from that movie that everybody does is "You damn dirty apes."
Fair enough.
And then with that, I hadn't watched the earlier Planet of the Apes at that point in time.
Yeah.
I had, on the other hand, watched Spaceballs.
I had watched The Simpsons.
I watched Spaceballs when Mega Maid blows up, and they're like, "What's that climbing out of its nose?" It's Spaceballs. Well, there goes the planet. Is it the planet or the neighborhood? Do you remember Dire Monkey?
I don't, because I haven't seen that movie.
You haven't watched? Okay, I was about to say you haven't watched Spaceballs.
It's been so long.
I was about to grab you by your beard and drag you across the room.
Just got to stop the podcast. We're going to
watch
it.
All right, boys and girls, we'll be right back after a short intermission.
I would say it's been over 15 years.
Really?
Probably, yeah.
I watch that movie all the time too. I have people in my life that are like, I don't want to watch Spaceballs with you, and I'm like, why not? The Colonel Sanders chicken joke kills every time. It slays, I tell you.
Well, I mean, any Mel Brooks movie.
Yeah, for the most part.
Life Stinks was a little rough.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'd pretty well watch any of them.
Yeah. I think Blazing Saddles, Spaceballs, and Young Frankenstein are like...
What about Robin Hood Men in Tights?
That's the first one on my list.
I think those are the three for me, and then Robin Hood Men in Tights comes in number 4. And then I think number 5 would be... what's the movie where it starts off at like the Bible years and goes into
History of the World?
History of the World. Thank you, part 2. Which I don't understand why it's part 2, because
it just has
that's
to
why.
be.
I mean,
Because you don't understand it, that's why.
right? Yeah,
Spoiler: there's no part 1.
there is no point where you don't have to do that. Anyway, I come down the hill with these 15 commandments. Then he drops one. 10 commandments.
I'm gonna have to watch Mel Brooks movies later.
Yeah, you are.
I actually rewatched Robin Hood Men in Tights a couple weeks ago.
Did you?
Well, it was after my house got hit with an arrow.
He did. He sent me a picture. He's like, he sends me this picture of an actual like metal tipped aluminum arrow,
Yep.
right? That had been embedded itself in the wood siding of his house. And he's like, "Would you call the police about this?" Or I'm like, "Yeah, probably."
Leave us alone, Mel Brooks.
Yeah. I was like, I feel like I'm in the opening scene of Men in Tights here. It was weird. But, yeah. That was probably, 3 weeks ago? 4
Yeah,
weeks ago?
yeah. You're like, "Would you call this in, or would you just throw the arrow away?" And I'm like, "I would probably make a phone call."
By the way, that movie still holds up.
Does it?
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, but I didn't want to do that here. I was going to do that for
We can do that.
Spellcast.
We can do that on
Okay.
a later episode. But preview.
Preview.
Still holds up.
Still holds up. On your end, it still holds up.
That's you.
Oh, man.
You just got hit 3 times.
What?
That movie is infinitely quotable.
Oh, yeah. So for me, one of the movies that was spoiled without actually being spoiled, when we talked about this before the show, was thanks to Dire Monkey over here. And that was Rogue One. Because
No, Force Awakens. Rogue One?
Rogue One.
Okay.
No, it was Force Awakens.
Yeah.
It was Force
Like
Awakens.
being
Thank
New
you.
Hope.
Yeah. Because you'd read it on Reddit.
Somewhere, yeah. Reddit or...
You'd something.
Yeah.
All I know is that I'd stopped by your place. I was picking something up, and I was like, "Hey, I'm going to go see this movie." And you're like, "Good luck. It's A New Hope." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" I hadn't heard it from anywhere else. Everybody now says that, but this genius over here, he's like, "Oh yeah, I read it online. There's this thing, and I read the synopsis, and I'm like, oh, it's A New Hope."
I think what had happened is it was like a Friday or something like that. I couldn't go see it, and I knew we were going to talk about it on Sunday, and so I wanted to be
A part of it.
caught up on it, and if it was going to be spoiled, I wanted it completely spoiled rather than just touch on the topic. So I read the leaked script or something.
And he's going through, he reads the whole thing, and then one of them, you're going to go to the movie, he's like, "Yeah, good luck, it's A New Hope." And I'm like, "Wait, what?" And he's, because I don't have a problem with people spoiling things for me. I've said it.
I asked you first.
I
was
have.
like,
Oh, you did, but I've been this way for years. Because here's the deal: your perception of something, Adam, versus mine could be completely different.
Yeah.
The moments that you pick up on that are important to you are what you're going to tell me about. Yeah, sure, you're going to hit the highlight reel and you're going to tell me the big points and things of that nature, but your focus was elsewhere than what mine was. The flags inside the village, do you even remember the flags?
I remember the flags. I don't remember them being, machine made.
But the thing is that, to me, I picked up on that detail, and that made the movie different for me than what it did for you. So you could spoil the movie for me, and you can tell me all about it, and that's fine. I'm still going to watch it, and I'm still going to have a different perception of it than you are. And that's why I'm okay with it. That's why I don't understand why everybody gets so twisted about, "Oh, don't spoil it, don't spoil it." It's like, okay.
I've got a friend that's like that. Like, he
Plugs their ears and la 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 and stop your feet.
Kingsman comes out this week or next week.
Yeah, it was actually out the other day. Yeah,
I know he's waiting till his wife gets back from wherever the hell she is to go see it next weekend, and he's already told me like 3 or 4 times not to ruin it for him. I'm like, I don't even like the movie, the first one. I don't like the franchise. I'm not going to see it until it's over. He's like, "Well, don't spoil it for me. I'll know you'll read it." I'm like, I could give 2 shits less. Really, I don't care. Now I'm just like thinking of things to make up and be like, oh,
okay.
that one guy with the eye patch, he fucks the other guy in the ass. It's in the director's cut.
It's a play on the original, on the first movie they came out with the butt fucking of the princess.
Yeah.
You know, just payback kind of thing, I guess. Anyway, so we talked about on Spellcast the other week about how they were filming multiple endings for Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, in order to prevent people from being able to give away the ending, right?
Yeah.
And I was telling this to Josh last night, and I was like, this would be an incredible thing. And he was like, as a viewer, I would be fucking angry. I'm like, it would be amazing. It would be fucking amazing. And my idea is that and I talked about this on Spellcast, that they release all 3 endings, but in different areas. So depending on where you're at, dictated which one you got.
I'd be okay with that.
Right? See? Wouldn't it be amazing? It's like choose your own ending. And they like, it would be cool if like somehow they contradicted one another, or there'd be a variation there that made a wildly different ending, right?
Yeah.
So this way later on when somebody else is talking about it, they're like, oh yeah, this is what happened. And everybody's like, no, it's not. This is what happened. And there's this huge debate on which one's actually the ending.
That would be really cool if George R.R. Martin would actually finish the goddamn series, and his ending became the actual ending, and it was somehow tied
wildly different.
Yeah, it was somehow tied in that these were like possible outcomes of like a prophecy or something like that, you know?
See?
There's my idea, George.
There you go.
Take it and run.
Run with it. You're totally down to do that. And I hope George R.R. Martin
and all their
spin-off spoiler cast.
And all their spin-off series are going to
it'd be awesome.
Well, I know. I'm just saying it'd be kind of strange, but I mean, he did come to like the first Vision Con, so
yeah. Actually, D.A. Roberts has actually hung out with him, taking pictures with him, all that good stuff. So, anyhow.
Yeah, moving on.
You said you got some games?
Oh, games. That's a few pages in here.
Oh, man. He made like 4 pages worth
I could
of
think
notes.
of the biggest game that could have been spoiled, ending.
What's that?
Samus being a girl.
That was my first one.
Yeah, really?
I remember that being a hot fucking topic back in the
Really?
day. Oh, yeah.
Why would people get so bent out of shape about it, you think?
This was the 80s, and girls didn't play games, especially Nintendo games. And
Fair. But that's
like
just
on the playground, I mean.
And the thing is, I had that discussion for my human sexuality class, because I'm taking classes for my bachelor's degree and all that good stuff. And one of the classes I'm taking is about human sexuality. And a couple of weeks ago, one of our assignments is how children identify, boy versus girl, right? Because they have no concept of gender as far as like anatomically correct,
right?
Or is it the voice of God, the Metatron, Alan Rickman, where he's like, I'm as anatomically correct as a Ken doll. But that's the point, right? You're looking at a Ken doll, and he is as anatomically correct as a Barbie doll, right? But they're both girls' toys. I'm using bunny quotes again there. But what's the difference between them and a G.I. Joe? Right? So whenever it comes to a gaming console, what part of that is a boy's toy?
From what
it's a marketing thing. They just flipped a coin, from what I understand, back in the day. Basically.
What I've noticed, because I've done a shit ton of research on video games. I'm in the business, so and watch a lot of documentaries. And what it seems to be is the home consoles in the 70s and 80s. That was still kind of the era of the women are maintaining the house and doing the housekeeping stuff. They aren't really playing games. This is little kids. And the boys are playing the games and the football and the stuff like that.
Right.
But then in high school level, then you have the girls that are actually... My mom was one. She was playing ping pong and pinball at the arcades with my dad. That's how they met. So it's like there's this small little age gap where the little kids didn't play the home consoles. And then to have Samus come out as a woman...
The thing is that, kids start to identify gender at about like 2.5 to 3 years of age, roughly. Hey, look at me learning stuff. Anyway, so...
and the girls didn't have their moms teaching them, because the moms didn't have that to learn on,
Right.
But the dads were more
Well, whenever
pet guys.
you sit down with a kid that's that age that's able to articulate these things, they'll tell you, typically it depends on what their home life is. Now it might be a little bit different, but at that point in time, mommy's at home, and the daddy goes to work because if you're showing them like a boy toy or a girl toy or a boy, GI Joe or whatever, it's like, well, daddies go to work, mommies are at home, and then if you start dressing the boy doll up in girls' clothes, kids that are little like that, they're like, oh, no, what are you doing? And they get like super defensive about it. And you're like, well, maybe he wants to wear it. It goes nice with his hair. Oh, no, that's a girl's clothes. But it's because of what it is that they know, right? So whenever it comes to these toys, such as video games and things of that nature, there's nothing gender specific about a console, right? But your heroes in your games, Link, Mario, all of the ones that were out there,
the princess always needs to be rescued.
They're boys, right? So whenever it came time for Samus, right?
Yeah.
Samus is a non-specific boy and or girl name. And whenever they made the big reveal, suddenly everybody's butt hurt and going, whoa, no, time out here. Wait a minute.
I can vividly remember on the playground, it was like almost fighting words to be like, the kids that hadn't seen it yet, they're like, no, it's not, it's a guy. I'm like, does it matter, really? But
it doesn't. The point is it doesn't.
You had to pick a side on that playground that day, but now I'm here to say it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
It's even better for it being a girl at this point.
Do you know how they decided?
How?
Somebody threw the idea out. It's like, wouldn't it be crazy if Samus was a girl at the end? And they're like, yeah, that'd be okay. And then they just put it to a vote and did it.
Sounds about right.
I mean,
just the dev team.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, let's go with it. I mean,
roll with it. Let's happen.
I mean, half of it was already ripped off from H.R. Geiger's Alien artwork anyway. So, Ripley was the star.
Right. Yeah. Hey, All right, what else you got? Video games.
Portal. Yeah. The cake. First.
The cake is not a lie.
Yeah, it's not at all. And that was kind of the twist, is because you see it scrawled everywhere. The cake is a lie, the cake is a lie. You beat the game, and there's the damn
cake. You get cake at the end. It tells you get cake at the end. And you get cake at the end.
You do get cake.
Have you played the second one?
Yeah.
Okay, so I love the fact that it's you again. Like, it's the same character as the first one.
Yeah.
But, like, way forward. And then they're like, hey, here's this thing. And she wakes up, and she's like, oh, it's you. I love Gladys in that whole game.
Yesterday, I spent the entire day with Keith playing co-op Portal 2.
Oh, yeah.
Have you played
No,
that?
I want to. I haven't.
It's been a long time since I played Portal 1, but from what I can remember, the last few stages of the co-op lead you into Portal 1.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. All right. That's kind of circular. Okay.
Let's see here.
You got more? I know you got more.
Yep. Earthbound. Do you remember playing Earthbound at all?
No, I don't.
Okay.
You even look confused, Dire Monkey.
I'm thinking I have it confused with something else.
Oh, okay. Earthbound.
Earthbound is actually a sequel game that came out over here under the name Earthbound. In Japan, there was Mother 1, 2, and 3. We only got the second one. But
Mother 2. So, yeah, he pulled it up here.
But the big twist ending with that is one of the characters you go around with the whole time, your neighbor, who's a fat kid named Porky, turns out to be working with the alien overlord boss. And ends up, he's like his underling or something. He ends up being the main boss in Mother 3, but again, we never really got that one. So.
Huh. No, I don't recognize this at all. Dire Monkey, do you know it?
Yeah, I remember it. I rented it from like Blockbuster or something, and it was a weekend rental that I never could finish. The story didn't grab me, so I did never really care that much. But
I love, looking at this, I remember the boxes for the video games now, and I can't tell you how much I loved the boxes for the Super Nintendo games.
The box for that one was great. It was just this giant SNES box.
And the SNES.
Snooper SNES.
Snooper SNES.
But yeah, I mean that was one that really affected how.
All I remember was you when we were growing up. All I remember was you playing like Chrono Trigger and stuff like that.
It's very similar,
yeah,
battle wise and everything. But it's actually what Earthbound. It's what Undertale is based on. You've heard of Undertale?
Yes, I've heard of it. I have not played it.
Yeah, Toby Fox, the creator of Undertale, was a huge fan of Earthbound, and there's theories and stuff floating around. Like Matt Pat has one about how that everybody got really butthurt over that Sans from Undertale is Ness from Earthbound.
Ooh.
Yeah, and he goes really in depth on that. And I thought it was a good theory because they're all for fun. It's nothing meant to be taken serious. But apparently, he got a lot of personal attacks because people are so involved in both of those games, like just emotionally.
That's okay. So that kind of like the airplane flying overhead. Really? Really,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
I got a movie for you to watch and a song for you to listen to, and it's called Frozen. And I'm sure you can figure out the song from there. So. Dad joke number 4.
How high can we go?
We've still got like 15 minutes.
All right, the last video game I have is Final Fantasy VII, When Aeris Dies.
Oh, yeah. So, okay. Did you know that there is a later release of that with a... No, I take it back. It wasn't a later release. I remember what it was. I was reading a post online where someone was like, what if we have a purchasable extra DLC content where you can actually resurrect her? And it showed, like, the very next picture is them, like, swimming in money. Listen, this is what we'll do, okay? It's an extra DLC. We'll charge, like, the full price of the game all over again, but she survives.
Well, at that point, you kind of have to rewrite that last little bit.
It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. You would have everybody and their brother going, hells yes, I'm paying for it. Just because. Just to have her in the group just trolling along with you. I don't see, because for me, I'd have done it. Just because I'm an idiot like that. But that moment where she's just kneeling there praying, and all of a sudden Sephiroth drops down from on high and harpoons her. Turns her into an Irish kebab.
All right, now here's one that is kind of a mix between a comic and a movie.
Okay.
Watchmen.
Yeah. They changed that, though.
I'm not talking about like the ending.
Okay.
The big spoiler, where they go in and Ozymandias is standing there and they're like, we're going to stop. He's like, I've already done it 35 minutes ago.
Yeah, because he monologues.
Yeah.
He monologues like every villain does, right? Some of them more cleverly than others. I mean, I'm assuming at this point you've seen Spider-Man Homecoming.
No, I haven't.
What? Okay, so...
I've been broke for a while.
And that's fine. All right, so I'm not really giving anything away, but Vulture starts monologuing, right?
Yeah.
And it actually plays to his advantage, monologuing. Because he's sitting here and he's explaining a bunch of things to Peter. They're having this discussion. And then all of a sudden he's like, doo, doo, doo. Plus he's like, yeah, well, I've been monologuing for a little bit here. And he like starts tickling around on a thing, on a controller. And all of a sudden he explains it. He's like, well, I've only been doing this because those engines take a little while to turn on. And he was using it as an advantage to get his flight suit to him. Yeah. And that was the only reason he was doing it. But that played to his advantage. The other monologuing thing that I really, really like was from The Incredibles. When Syndrome's like, you sly dog, you got me monologuing again.
Which is basically just a remake of Watchmen.
Right. So with Watchmen, though, they did something different because that is the anticipation, right?
Yeah.
Is that he's going to stand up there, they're going to have this thing, there's going to be this huge epic fight, and then the good guys are going to win.
Yeah.
But, sorry about you. He's too smart for that. He's like, I already pulled the trigger on this bastard. It's done. It's like, you think I'd be standing here telling you all of this stuff if I already hadn't won? I'm recapping at this point.
I mean, they'd already set him up as, the smartest man in the world.
Right. Smart enough to catch a bullet.
And why would the smartest man in the world be monologuing if you hadn't already done it?
Right.
And they really should have anticipated that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not much they're going to be able to do to outthink him.
Unfortunately, the only thing he really didn't take into account was Rorschach's journal being used as it was.
Well, I mean,
it is
even as smart as he is, you can't take everything into it.
Well, that's true, but the other angle there to look at is that it's the ramblings of, basically a madman.
Yeah.
So there's going to be this moment of, is it tabloid, rumors? Is it a bunch of crap, basically? Or is this actually what happened? And the comic books, they went down the angle of, stealing scientists and artists in order to be able to create what appeared to be a giant extraterrestrial arriving and erupting on our planet and then immediately dying, right?
Yeah.
And then in the movie, he made the villain out of Dr. Manhattan. And, of course, Dr. Manhattan's like, yeah, that totally jives. And, yeah, and then he leaves.
Now, on that one, which one did you prefer personally? Because I know you were a big fan of it before the movie came out.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
The one who got me into the comic for it.
Which is, I really like that some of the extra scene stuff that they did with the movie, they actually covered the pirate ship story that was happening in the background. Love that, because that whole story was super cool. Very foreshadowing to a degree. Anyhow, I think my preference between the two is Dr. Manhattan being the bad guy in the equation and then going off on his own, because there was no really stopping him. Like, he is this ultimate death machine thing, and to turn him into a tool for peace to stop the Cold War at that point in time, to stop this threat where they're going, hey, we're going to kill each other, and you've got this ultimate killing machine in addition to your nukes, right? Dr. Manhattan can just kind of blink at you, or not even blink at you. He just thinks about it, and you just turn into dust. To put that as the threat on high, and no one knows where he is, no one knows if he's going to come back, that facilitates them. And he's, by blowing things up and making him do this atrocious act, suddenly everybody goes, yeah, he is the villain, he's the monster. And so he goes off into space. So he's the god figure at a distance looking down at us going, I will fucking spank you. To quote Dogma.
2 Dogma references in one episode.
Hells yeah. I will fucking spank you.
Now just
do it, and I'll fucking spank you.
Do it, and I'll fucking spank you. And he's quoting that to a nun. Or he's saying it to a nun. Let me get this straight. You yourself have spoken to God. You have sat in his presence. And yet I sat here and listened to you claim to be an atheist. Clergyman.
Yep. I need to watch that movie again.
See? I love that movie. It's a great movie. I actually got to quote that movie specifically in my human sexuality class. The part where Serendipity gets talking about, you of all people should know what defines a woman falls between two things, her legs. I actually quoted that line in a paper and got 100% on the grade.
I mean, yeah, that should be a life goal. Quote Kevin Smith, get an A.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that I quote Kevin Smith movies as regularly as I can. Have you seen the movie Red State?
Yeah.
Okay, that for me should be on this list, or at least worth talking about, because that moment at the end of the movie, when the horn blows, and they think it's the end times, is hilarious. Okay,
Do you know what the really funny thing is?
It's not the horn.
The only reason that ending happened is because they ran out of money.
No shit.
They were going to do the big apocalypse ending, but he's like, we can't afford it.
Okay.
Fuck it. It's just, it's different.
I love that so much more now, because the end of that movie is hilarious. Because it's every single time there is the end of the world prophecy for, anyone in a religion right now, for the most part, where there's some lunatic within it that's like, I gotta kill everybody as a result of this thing, and then they kill a bunch of people, and then it turns out life goes on and you were wrong, right?
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and say that religion is total crap, but for the most part, religion is total crap.
Can read the original script. You can read the original script online, but they got to that point. He was funding the movie out of pocket, and he got a quote on what it would cost to do the apocalypse scene.
Oh,
he's
Lord.
like, nope, can't do it.
So then he changes it. Now you got John Goodman? Was that John Goodman?
Wasn't John Candy.
No, it wasn't John Candy. It was. I'm pretty certain it was John Goodman.
Spoiler.
Red State. There it is. Yeah. I'm pretty certain that's John Goodman. Well, I don't see him on that list. He's only in there like the very end of the episode, and apparently the way they portrayed it is there was some type of like audio equipment. John Goodman, there he is. There's an audio equipment malfunction at some thing nearby. That's what the sound was. I mean, for it to play out like that is genius, right? To take something that's like, well, we were anticipating going this direction, and then to make this the ending, pretty solid. Pretty solid.
Since we're on a Kevin Smith kick, I just have to ask, are you going to see Moose Jaws? Have you heard about Moose Jaws?
I have not seen any of the Great North trilogy, Tusk and Yoga Hosers, and I think Moose Jaws is kind of up in limbo at this point since he's working on
The Jay and Silent
Bob reboot, and he was pitching Mallrats, the TV series, but that did not get picked up. So I think Moose Jaws might happen, but it's going to be quite a while.
Yeah.
I mean, why not?
I would see it, but
Yeah. I mean, do you know the concept?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, yeah, I'm totally on board with this.
So
I
it's
just
Jaws, except with a moose.
With a moose, yeah. So no, the thing is that the last time we were on talking about Planet of the Apes, Dire Monkey, the genius over here, was like, there are monkeys riding horses in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, and I'm like, no, there's not. And he's like, don't fuck with me. I know my Jay and Silent Bob. And there are, in fact, because it's a scene straight out of fucking Planet of the Apes.
And only those as super smart as me will live to bitterly cry. Damn yous all to hell.
Oh my God. Okay, so we're right here basically at the end of the episode. So we're pretty close, yeah? 10, roughly. So you finally did a thing. Your hang-up was trying to think of 2 movies, basically, right?
Yeah.
So how did you rectify that?
Well, I just went online and I grabbed a random movie generator, and it
So
just throws movies out there for you to watch. I grabbed 2 of them and linked them.
Okay. So the concept of the game that I like playing here is that we pick 2 movies out, 2 arbitrary titles. I mean, you could come in equipped with 2 that like kind of fit together. The last one that Dire Monkey came up with was the Westworld and Jurassic Park coexisting in the same as 2 theme parks that are competing for the dollars and cents of the public. And I love that. I love it so much. You have no idea how much I love that. But you came preloaded with that. Like, you'd thought about it and whatever and came up with it, right? Or you read something about it someplace, or whatever the case may be. You've taken this at a little bit different angle, Adam. You grabbed 2 random titles that just populated off this thing.
Yep.
And then, had you seen both of them?
I had.
Okay, fortunate. Did you have to shuffle through a couple times to get a couple of movies you'd seen?
No.
Okay.
I just did the first 2 that popped up.
All right, fantastic. Would you have recycled through and got another title had you not seen it?
I might have attempted to watch the movie had I not seen it.
Oh, okay. All right, fair. So what were the 2 movies?
The Ring and Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets.
Okay, it kind of works. Okay, because
it works perfectly.
Does it? All right, I'll let you explain, and then we'll get into some of it.
Okay, a dark witch, much in the same way that Voldemort had, decides to create a Horcrux in order to prolong her life. This witch, Samara, uses a VHS tape to make her Horcrux, and a few days later she is accosted by Aurors attempting to stop her spree of killings. Attempting to escape, she takes refuge in a well where her wand breaks, leaving her stranded. She manages to stay alive for 7 days. Her vengeful ghost is actually a piece of her soul trying desperately to regain her lost life, much in the same way as the Diary of Tom Riddle.
Oh my God. You told me this was a stretch, right?
Yeah.
To begin with. How in the hell was it a stretch? What part were you...
It wasn't a stretch. I said it took me a while to make a connection.
Wow. Okay, so what you're suggesting is that if you watch the movie The Ring, in the background of that movie is the Wizarding World.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, that actually...
How else do you explain the cursed tape?
that actually, I mean, that works. That works super, super well. Oh my God, that works super well. Because the populace of that universe, as far as Harry Potter goes, doesn't know, of wizards and things like that. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are some people that know of wizards, right? But it's not like it's commonly talked about.
Yeah, it's muggles attempting to deal with a cursed object. That's the whole movie.
Holy shit.
Much in the same way that it is just, muggles trying to deal with a boggart.
Oh my God. Okay, so here's the deal. The thing is that I kind of think that the way that dynamic is set up with Harry Potter, where they basically keep human beings totally in the dark about their existence and things of that nature, is kind of reckless. I mean, we have no concept of all of the threats that are out there that are against us, right?
Yeah.
There's there doesn't appear to be much communication between the two as far as how things work there, because clearly we're not on alert for, the Dark Lord trying to take over everything.
I am.
At all times, Dire Monkey's equipped. He's ready to go. He's ready for battle because he will be the one that survives.
Only those are super smart as me.
Exactly. So, okay, I love that. I love everything about that because they don't give you, they give you a little bit, right, to begin with, but all of that information could have been fudged.
Yeah.
Right? Kind of like Tom Riddle. Everybody didn't put it together pretty easily there. Harry and his boys didn't put it together, immediately. There are people that knew, right?
Yeah, one of the big things was I had to go through and read a synopsis of The Ring because it had been so long.
Right?
And I'm like, wait, there's connections here. This can work.
It's a Horcrux. It's a VHS Horcrux. Oh my God. Okay, I know some people that are Harry Potter fans. I'm gonna have to share this with.
All right.
I think that's actual gold. So I think that for me, I think to do this game again, we have somebody on and they're having some troubles with it. We'll see if we can cycle through a couple of things and be like, all right, you got till the end of the episode to bridge a gap here, and if you can't, then we can, and we'll try to adapt that a little bit. I like that. It's super cool. I think there's an element to that we can use for this game a little bit more on down the line.
Yeah.
I love that though. That's bridging gaps where we can, right?
Yeah. Sometimes you have to force it a little bit.
A little bit, but that worked almost flawlessly.
I got lucky.
You got super lucky, but that was spot on. So you said Chamber of Secrets?
Yeah.
So the Chamber of Secrets is
Second book,
second movie,
yeah.
Right? I don't remember the specifics.
The
I literally
basilisk in the walls.
Okay, it's basilisk. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so that does work. It's
the first one where they introduce.
Yeah. Wow, you got super lucky.
Yep.
Because if it was like the Sorcerer's Stone, the first movie, you'd have to work it a little bit more. It still works at the magic angle, right?
Yeah.
But at that, you hadn't been introduced to a Horcrux, at that point.
They actually hadn't said what it was, but you know that it's Tom Riddle in the diary.
Right? Yeah. You figure that out towards the end.
Yeah.
Because he ends up stabbing it with the basilisk fang.
Yeah.
And all that good stuff. Whatever, you figure that out, and then at the end of the movie, they refer to it as. I don't think they actually call it a Horcrux at that point in time, do they?
No, they don't do that, and I think until Half-Blood Prince, maybe?
It might be the next one. Probably Order of the Phoenix, I think.
I'll have to go back there.
So would I. Last night on TV, there was the Half-Blood Prince was on, and I only know that because it was the scene where Snape, another Alan Rickman movie, comes wandering in where Harry had just blasted Malfoy with his curse from the book, or his spell from the book, where it riddled him with holes. It was like a shotgun blast of magic. Anyhow, I think that pretty much does it for the episode right there. I think we covered quite a few good topics. Definitely explored some really good ideas on this, and I look forward to having you back on again sometime in the near future. Dire Monkey, you got anything you want to add? Anything from Spellbook or Spellbook Studios over here as far as stuff's going on with you?
Nothing that can be talked about yet.
Alrighty. That's
soon.
fair.
Yep.
Very soon.
Yep.
Very soon. Be looking out. Check out forums, all that good stuff from them. They've always got things on there to be had, and then be looking out for us to put out some more Let's Play videos, things of that nature from us over here at Spoilercast and Altar Media.
Do think there are some events going on in Dire right now, so
yeah.
Log in there, check out the Dire forums. I believe one of our mods is running some competitions and stuff.
Cool.
You can win some cool stuff there.
Adam, you got anything you want to add?
No, I think I'm good.
Cool. All right. Well, boys and girls, have yourself a safe night, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Make sure to check out our website, all tower... Fucking hell.
Bloody hell, mate.
Let me try that one again.